Hey guys, I want to talk to you about the giants and why they were exterminated from Earth. They're still here. Their seed survived two floods and stuff like that. And when they were created, they were living on Earth, right? And they were pretty much indulging on a lot of things in life. Then humanity began to flourish and to mutate into many different races and stuff. The giant started eating humanity. They were eating humanity and they raped some of the women. That's why their bloodline is not in a lot of, is not all over the earth, but they specific. So anyhow, they raped or some of the women, and they created all this genetic mutation and stuff. The flood came in and they were exterminated, but they managed to survive the flood because they were giving basically, their false god helped them, survive the flood. There's two floods: the flood of Noah and the flood of Gilgamesh. They survived both of them, and the main reason that why we've been, destroyed because they were, eating and and they were indulging in a lot of things that God forbidden. That why they were, their bloodline were, being attacked because of what they've been doing on Earth. They managed to survive the flood by some of their spirit transformed, and they basically passed into the pigs. The pigs and some of the monkeys and stuff like that. So that's why they survived it, okay? And they're still doing the same thing. They have not changed. Look, the state of the world today is the direct, harm by these giants bloodline, okay? Because they just don't know how to change. It's not in them. They cannot be something they're not, because this is who they are, from the day one, from inception. They've been always anti-God and always wanted to harm humanity and stuff like that, because humanity were when God created humanity, given authority and dominion over a lot of things, and they did not like that because God didn't give them the same thing. God given it to humanity, and they did not like humanity having dominion over a lot of things in life, and that why the war against humanity came into play, because they hate God. They don't like God, and they think they feel like their God is being unjust to them, but God is not being unjust to them, because God got fed up for the things they've done. It's like they could stop, but I feel on my in my heart that they don't want to stop. Always pushing the envelope and see how much they can get away with, and it's tough. There won't be another flood. There will be a war. This time, the entire bloodline will be, eliminated from Earth, once and for all, And that's why they are holding the 144,000 hostages, because they know where we are all about justice, and we were sent here to bring justice on Earth. When God says the end of time, injustice will increase. Injustice will increase. Exactly this, isn't it what's happening to us? right now, at this moment, injustice has increased. Look at the state of the world today. All these wars you see in the world is direct, it stems from these people, from the giant bloodline, okay? The Zionists, or certain bloodline from the Jews, mostly the Zionist Jews and all of that. And if you watch Sense8. Sense8 is about the bloodline of Jesus, and they showed it in that movie. He had eight kids, and they all were able to share their divine powers or spirits and between each other. So if you watch that TV show, it's called Sense8. I'm going to include it for you guys to go and watch. And also the other thing is you can watch is called the Mayfair Witches. It's also, they're showing you Lasher. Lasher is basically Jesus, okay? And they said he came into spirit, and he came through the womb of one of the Mayfair witches. They said the 13th witch is the gateway, okay? So the gateway meaning giving birth to Jesus, the 13th witch. So and in that TV show as well, they are talking about the 13th planet. The 13th planet is like Saturn. They're telling you is 13th planet is some other planet, but 13th planet is Saturn, okay? Because Saturn has 274 moons. When you add the 274, you get 13. Saturn is the 13th planet, okay? They're telling you is some other planet, and but no, Saturn is, okay? So anyhow, so the 13 witch from the Mayfair witches, she's the one who gave birth to Lasher. Lasher is basically Jesus, but then he was ambushed. If you watch, they wanted his blood. They wanted his blood because they realized they knew that his bloodline, his blood is divine. It holds a lot of spiritual power and divinity. That why he was, sacrificed by these, the bloodline of the giant. The bloodline of the giant sacrificed Jesus, and which is Lasher from that TV show. And if you watch, I don't want to tell you the whole thing, but watch it, you get what I'm trying to tell you. Basically, they showed you, they taken these 8 children and they scattered all over the earth. So they scattered all over the earth, but humanity at that time already existed. So the bloodline of Isaac, Jacob, Noah, Abraham, Jesus, Solomon, all of those, that they all stem from these 8 seeds. Okay? And so anyhow, that's what's the symbolic behind the Mayfair witches. Anyhow, watch it. Watch it, and then you'll understand what I'm trying to tell you. Okay? So there's a lot of dark, hidden symbols within these movies. Sense8 and Mayfair witches is a lot of dark, and so anyhow, Mayfair, they're showing you he was sacrificed by is it Irish or Scottish or I can't remember what. But anyhow, watch it, then you'll understand. Are the bloodline of the giant who have done this. Okay. So anyhow, so when you watch this TV shows, you'll begin to get the point why the giant bloodline is not God's favorite. God is condemning them and it wants to annihilate them from the face of the earth. Okay? That why? Because they keep doing, since inception, they keep harming humanity, they keep harming the planet, they keep doing stuff. They don't really blend. They always going against the grain. You know? Anyhow, just tell you in the movies what they're all about. And they're still not changing, you know? But what's coming is going to be a complete annihilation of the entire bloodline. That is going to happen because God, sending the flood a couple of times, it won't be another flood. It will be a war, It will be a war and fire, extermination of the entire bloodline, okay? Of that specific one, all right? Because they're not going to change for no one, They still define God's orders and they're trying to, challenge God, okay? Yeah, look what they've been telling us. They're telling us God is hopeless. Haven't they told you that? They told me God is hopeless. They can't do anything. God is not gonna win. God is gonna lose, and blah, blah, blah. And they know they're gonna lose because they made another movies showing that they're gonna lose the war. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, it's all talk, no action.